Great to see everybody today. My name is Scott Magno. I'm the Education and Enablement Specialist here at Prokeep. Really excited to be a part of this office hours with you. And thanks again for making time for this office hours. All right, so Prokeep is right here. So Prokeep is a two-way communication tool that makes contacting customers and selling much easier. This is the distribution's leading sales and customer experience software. This is essentially just describing what we do, and that this is a platform that's going to facilitate your processes. We've helped over 6,000 plus branches centralize communication and grow sales. That also includes 6 billion plus in orders placed, 11 million plus customer interactions, 1 million plus contractors engaged, and over 40,000 daily users. Some examples that we have in terms of use cases about how Prokeep is being utilized are here. This is an inventory stock inquiry from Bill Walton sending in a picture. This is essentially what you probably expect first from the reasons why your customer will have to the need to send in a picture. It's going to save a bunch of time, improve that order accuracy, and of course, provide a better customer experience. Also, being able to text in written list picture orders. In this case, it might be difficult to ascertain exactly what the customer needs, but snapping a picture of the complete order in its entirety is going to really save a bunch of time, prevent errors, and also create upsell opportunities. If there's an opportunity to maybe even substitute an item or a product with better margin, much easier to do so when you've got that picture in front of you. Better customer experience, also improved efficiency. Being able to send pictures of diagrams for text is extremely important. Again, being able to describe this particular engine or part might be more difficult, but being able to save a picture is going to make that troubleshooting process much easier. It's going to eliminate the possibility of an exchange or return and also save time. Again, the values that we bring here are improving efficiency and also a better customer experience. These are my favorite order update messages. You don't have to wait for your customers to text in to engage with them via Prokeep. We highly encourage you to take advantage of Prokeep's speed and efficiency by proactively sending them order update messages. You're going to get a reply immediately from your customer if there are any changes that need to be made, any adjustments. It's also a heightened level of customer service and convenience that you're providing for them. Huge time saver. Again, having that opportunity to upsell if there's additional items that are needed. Improved productivity. You're able to save a lot of time versus a phone call or an email. And this, of course, is a better customer experience. All right, so those values that we bring, we can kind of mention them there within those use cases there. Increasing sales, providing an improved customer experience, and also being more productive and have greater visibility and accountability. Increasing sales, you're much easier to do business with, quicker to respond. These relationships are built and strengthened via this method of communication. Recommend additional items for your customer's job, creating upsell opportunities, as we saw in some of those examples there. And then, of course, you have the ability to promote, market monthly sales, drive sales via Prokeep and text messaging as well. You will make it easier and more convenient for your customers. We know that all of them have a cell phone in their pocket, arguably, so everybody is texting. So sending quotes for orders via text, sending and receiving photos of parts or written order lists, as we showed, keeping customers aware with order updates via SMS is just going to eliminate that need to always have to call in or that wait that it takes to check your email. And then, of course, greater productivity and visibility. Conversation histories are saved here in Prokeep. It's easy to go back and recall them instead of on one person's personal cell phone. You're going to save a lot of time by sending pickup, delivery, order confirmations directly to your customers immediately via text message. being able to schedule and confirm upcoming deliveries is also very productive and quickly handled in Prokeep. All right, so we want to take you through the application itself, and our goals to ensure that is to make sure that you have an understanding and the purpose of how Prokeep works. We're going to walk through the application itself and provide a use case that we think is relevant to how you should be utilizing the platform. Your personal and location preferences should be set at your respective locations. So we want to make sure if you have any issues, please let us know if you're having any difficulties, and we can support you accordingly. All right, using Prokeep. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take you through my demo version of Prokeep here. As you can see, when you first log into Prokeep, we highly encourage you to go ahead and click on that star. It's going to create a bookmark. You always want to make sure that you can get back. Logging in daily is going to be pretty important there. Once you log in, you've got your group represented here, which should associate with your location. And then you've got these icons on the left. You've got the creation tool to create an outbound or internal message. You have got your inbox, which all your messages come in to a shared inbox. And then they are claimed, and then they will move to the open or active threads. And then once they are closed, they will be reviewable here in the closed message area here. And then we've got the contact list, a global search tool, and then we've got the settings gear here, and then we've got a quick link to our support section. All right, so we're going to take this from the beginning. Perhaps you are speaking to a customer and there is a need for them to send a picture. Maybe there is some confusion, or maybe it's just going to save them time. They're in a hurry. You might encourage them to snap a picture of the item that they need a quote and send it to the number that they just called. So let's say that we've just done that now. We may have been talking to our customer. We might even stay on the phone with them as they do this. Either way, whenever they text that picture over, that message is going to start and originate here in the inbox. When you log in, this is where you will land, and this is where all the action happens. So as we see here, we know that a message has come in, and we get this visual cue. We also see that there's a message waiting in this shared inbox here. The shared inbox is going to notify everyone on your team who's logged in. You also want to ensure when you first log in that you are clicking on your settings here in your browser and make sure that you've got those notifications and sounds on. It should default to this the first time you log into Prokeep, but if you are having any troubles there with that, you want to make sure you double check that setting there as well. All right, now it looks like we've got a message here in the inbox, and it's come from this particular phone number. They've sent in a picture and they've requested a quote, please, for a replacement. Below that picture is an automated message. This is the first message that Prokeep sends out to let your customer know that your location has received this. It lets the customer know immediately that the wheels are in motion. Now, from here, this message is still up for grabs. We recommend that if you get a message from a phone number that might look like spam, it might be asking you about your car's extended warranty or your electric bill, we're going to go ahead and encourage you to block that message there. You don't want it to reoccur. That's definitely going to be some spam. It could be an automated message as well. In this case, we know that this is our customer, so I'm going to go ahead and claim this thread. Once a thread has been claimed, Prokeep will send another automated message to that customer, which gives you another layer of comfort because they know that the wheels are in motion again and that we've got a precise individual, Scott Magno, who is actually reading the message at that time. You'll also notice up here that that message is no longer in the shared inbox, no longer notifying anybody logged into your team. We've claimed it, so it's moved over to our open and active threads here. So now I can view this message here. Any other messages that anyone else on your team will claim will be visible and viewable down here. Now, as a best practice, We always want to add contact data to any phone numbers. We want to be able to associate this history and this message with a customer, a company, maybe a specific individual. So let's go ahead and create the contact. In some cases, you might need to inquire and ask the customer what their name is. So we've got some stock messages here you can customize on a user level in your preferences. One of these we recommend you should create to say, can I get your name and company? Again, we know that this is John, so we're going to go ahead and hit the create contact reminder. From here, we can put the customer's first and last name. We can add a title. The phone number auto-populates, and we can create a new company as well. And when you create a new company, you have the opportunity to add other relevant information like the company's phone number, email, even an account number in here. This way, whenever you submit this and you add that contact data, from this moment forward, whenever they're were to text into your location, they will be identified in this header with their name, their company, their title if it's relevant, and any associated account number. Now, let's start communicating with the customer. We can do this in a couple of different ways. I can type in here to let them know that we've got it. I can utilize some templates that the managers on your team can create. We can add attachments. We can even send an emoji. I'm going to go ahead and utilize this first stock message to let them know that I've got it and I'm working on it now, because this allows me, again, if it starts to get busy as I multitask there at the counter, at my desk, this is going to give the customer some information to let them know that the wheels are in motion. In the meantime, I will go ahead and look up this item, start creating a quote, and then I'm going to go ahead and let the customer know that this is $400 out the door. When do you need it? Now, the great thing about communicating via text message is I can multitask, as I said earlier. I can claim another text message here in the inbox. I can continue helping customers who are coming in. I can even start pulling gear at the will call. Whenever my customer replies, I will receive a notification. Prokeep will let me know. In this case, the customer might say, need just one, and maybe even give me a PO number right here. When the customer replies, you'll notice up here that on my speaker, through my computer here, I get another bell chime. I get that audible notification. I get the visual notification here as well. And this is Prokeep telling me that the customer has replied. Just one, PO 345. Now, I'm going to tell customer, I'm going to tell Prokeep that I put my eyes on this by clicking on this open message here, and that's going to make the notification cease there. And then we can go ahead and take care of the customer. We have the ability to give them the files that they need that we might even be emailing them. So there's 3 ways that we can add an attachment into Prokeep. We can take an existing file, maybe some information that they need. I've got an exploded view diagram on my computer. I can simply take that file and drag it and drop it into this area here and send that away. You can also copy and paste a file into here. Maybe you've got a URL, a link to the e-commerce site, so your customer can buy it directly. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot of the quote that we've done for my ERP and copy and paste it directly into this texting area as well. Now, being able to send these files is typically the moment that your customers understand that they can get this information from you pretty quickly. We have found that once you text the information like this, send files, PDFs, pictures, quotes, this is typically the moment when your customer will buy into being able to text in and save that time, and also eliminating that phone volume. All right, so what we've done here is we've attached a PDF file. This is up to 5 megabytes, and we've been able to send that in the same sense and even immediately versus having to take 5 or 6 minutes to send an email instead. All right, now we've got this thread, we've got this message, we've taken care of the customer. As a best practice, we want to be able to claim our threads promptly, which we've done, but we also want to close the threads. If this conversation comes to its natural end, we want to go ahead and close this thread to ensure that John Lane's next message is going to originate again from the inbox and notify everybody else who's logged in. We definitely want to be able to close our threads, especially if we're going to step away from the counter. If I've got to go and leave for the day, I want to make sure that I don't miss anything from the customer. So I'm going to close this thread now. Now, when we close this thread, it's no longer in my open or active threads. It's moved over to the third section here, which are the recently closed threads. So I can review the last 50 conversations that I've had. And I even have the ability to review any other conversations that anyone else on my team has had with any of their customers as well. These threads will also be archived under John Lane's name in the contact section as well. And we're in that ready state now. We've claimed the thread. We added the contact data. We've closed that thread. And now we are ready to claim another thread if needed. But one of the other practices that we highly encourage, especially for those of you who might be new to Prokeep, is you don't have to wait for your customers to text in. We want you to be proactive. We want you to be able to utilize this tool to let your customers know quickly in a fraction of the time that their orders might be ready. In that case, what we're going to do is we're going to do that with Prokeep. We're going to click on the creation tool and create an outgoing message. We've added our contact data, so we don't have to cross-reference a phone number from my ERP or CRM. I can just start typing the customer's name. We can even utilize some templates that we've created here from our management team, and we can even add even more value to that by attaching that quote that we sent earlier. And then there it is. In a fraction of the time, we're able to send a text message to our customer and let them know without interrupting their day that the order is ready for pickup. Oftentimes what this will do, especially if you're new to Prokeep, this will remind your customers that they can expect to see or expect to receive updates from us via text message. This also allows them to reply if there's any changes that need to be made. You know, if there's any updates that need to be made. In this case, if the customer responds and they might need some more information, in this sense, John Lane says, great, can you ship it to Atlanta? Sure, let me check. Giving the customers a proactive message allows them to take that opportunity to say, while I got you. And it really opens the door to being able to continue doing more business with your customers. Now, if you receive a question that you may not have the answer to, we do have the ability to share this information with someone else on your team by transferring this message. Now, to be sure, anyone on your team can still see this message, if whether they see my threads down here or vice versa. But in order to really notify another member of your team, we're going to use the transfer method right here by clicking on these ellipses, selecting transfer, which will open up this invite where you can select one of your coworkers, in this case, my shipping manager, Ryan. And I'm going to ask him if they can quote shipping on this to Atlanta. Now, when I hit send on this message, I'm going to get an immediate confirmation that the message has been transferred. I know because it is no longer in my open threads here, and I will no longer be notified whenever there's a reply from my customer. I can still see that message right here, but now it's been transferred to Ryan, who immediately receives a notification at their desk, wherever they're logged into Prokeep. And then they have the ability to utilize the internal use dropdown to see if there's any messages here that I need to give them regarding that. Again, this is internal use. Your customer will not see this. And then Ryan can now take the reins of this, take ownership of this, and has the ability as well to load the previous conversation. That way they can get some background on exactly what they need, and then they can go ahead and take care of the customer. So again, the visibility that you are able to have in Prokeep can be shared by all. You have the ability to transfer or even forward or even quarterback these messages to the appropriate individual. And then, of course, whenever this is completed, you can go ahead and close that thread. All right, so we've taken care of the customer. We've let them know in a fraction of the time that their order is ready. We want to move on next to this section here, and that's the contact section. Now, the contact section is going to be a list of all of your customers. It's going to be all of the companies that you've added, the customers, and every single message will be saved, organized, and searchable here in Prokeep. If we want to look for a specific customer's name, we need to see the history. We can simply look up the customer, and then we've got all of their details here. From here, we can add notes. This is a searchable field. We can add labels. If there's a change or edit in the company, we can select that as well. We also have the ability to look at the whole history in perpetuity of every communication we've ever had with this customer. So it's a really great way to go back and look at the history. We can't remember a price. We can't remember a PO, a location. It's real easy to go back and review that history there. We even have the ability to add tags to these communications. Maybe you can't remember what the PO is, so you want to add that to the top of this communication so it's easily visible. This is also a searchable field, which will allow you to pull these up by using this global search tool icon here. All right. You also have the ability to log any activities here in the contact list. So if you've got a learning coming up or a training or certification, you need a reminder, you can log an activity in here, in-person call, or any sort of maybe appointment that you've got coming in. This transforms your Prokeep contact list into a workable and definitely efficient, usable CRM. Now, adding contacts into Prokeep is pretty easy as well. We do have the ability, your managers at your locations can add contacts in bulk via a customer import with their access, but you can also add them individually right here by clicking on the plus sign. Now, a great time to add your contacts would be, first and foremost, the ones that are texting your personal cell phone. Perhaps you just received a text message while you're at work from a customer requesting a quote. There's no better time to bring them into Prokeep than that particular moment. Go ahead and hit the plus sign here. Add their name in here. And then, of course, you can put their phone number in and all of the relevant information. And then you can also send them a welcome message. Now, this welcome message, when you enable this here, it will send a welcome message that says, "Hi, Henry Chase. Prokeep United Supply in Pensacola has just enabled texting. You can now send text and pictures to this number. Try it out by responding to this message." So go ahead and send that welcome message to them. And once you've added their contact data, instead of replying on your personal cell phone and having them text your branch landline number, you've added them into Prokeep, and then you can immediately click on the outbound creation tool and answer them via Prokeep. That'll put that message in that branch landline number contact directly at the top of their thread there, and you are good to go. All right, that's the contact list. Now, next, we're going to go into the settings here. And we're going to talk about a couple of things that are pretty important. Once you navigate into settings, you can update your account information here and your password. Pretty straightforward. The preferences is what we want to kind of let you know about here. And having the ability to create stock messages, personalize those active and open conversations is where you'll find here in preferences. Again, things that you might say all the time. Maybe if you want to point them to the registration on your website, that might be some good information to put in a stock message so you don't have to type it all the time. You also have the ability to modify your notifications, enable email notifications, modify your appearance in a couple of different themes, change or set your internal language, and then also access the templates that have been created for your specific location. So managers on this call, you will have the ability in your settings to create some templates that your team will have access to utilize and engage when they are creating those messages there. All right. Last but not least, we want to let you know about the support and feedback section under help. You can also access this on the front part of Prokeep by clicking on the question mark icon. But this is going to be a really great place to get some information if you need to email or call or even text in to our support number. You can do so and get that information here. If you'd like to see some sort of features or upgrades or modifications in Prokeep, maybe there's something that could help us develop our product to make you guys more successful, you can provide that feedback here to our product team. But what we'd like to point out is once you get logged in again, once you've created that bookmark, go ahead and navigate to the Help Center. When you click on this, it's going to open this in another tab. And this is going to give you some fantastic resources like getting started, going to give you some technical information about clearing your cache and cookies and settings. It's also going to show you some links to some tips and tricks and also some fantastic marketing materials in our marketing toolkit. But what I'd like for you to do, if you could walk away from something that's going to be extremely helpful, especially those of you who are new to Prokeep, go ahead and search for Automate Your Prokeep Daily Login here. When you click on this article, you're going to get a couple of useful steps to create a Prokeep icon desktop shortcut. This is going to allow you to create this so that way when you log in every morning, you come into work, you can make logging into Prokeep part of your morning routine by just clicking on that particular icon, and it will open up Prokeep in its own dedicated browser. We also have a step here. It's going to take a couple of other steps, but it's really doesn't take too much time at all. But this will allow Prokeep to start up in its own browser automatically as soon as you log into your computer. So some really great tips there. That automation is going to be really key. That's one of the things we definitely do, especially those of you who are just now learning about Prokeep. All right, getting the most out of Prokeep. I think we covered these in this use case, using the ABCs for success. Always capture names for contact creation. You want to be able to go into Prokeep and utilize it as a database. You want to be able to be proactive in Prokeep, and adding contact and capturing names is always going to be a part of that. Being proactive by sending out outbound messages. You don't have to wait for your customers to text into Prokeep. You're going to get the most power and the true engagement, the most benefit immediately from Prokeep once you've added your contacts in and you start creating those outbound updates and messages. And then, of course, you want to make sure that once you're logging in every day that you're claiming those threads in a timely manner. That will give your customers a lot of confidence about being able to text in instead of maybe even calling and being on hold, or maybe even coming in. And then, of course, you want to make sure that you're closing those threads. You want to ensure that the next conversation will originate from an inbox and notify everyone on your team. It's also going to ensure that the reporting and the dashboards that your leadership have views of are going to be accurate information as well. Okay, don't forget, you can create templates for commonly sent messages by saving time. You can also add tags such as PO numbers and conversations to easily search for them, as we kind of showed there with that PO. You also have the ability to assign contact labels such as HVAC, VIP to contacts for marketing purposes, because you can filter and create lists by utilizing those contact labels. And then, of course, it's not just an outbound messaging tool. You can utilize Prokeep to message each other internally at your existing locations, or if there are other locations within your Prokeep family, you can message them as well and transfer in the same sense as well. All right, Over to you, Josh.
Thank you very much, Scott. Appreciate your expertise as always. Thus far, we have a question from the audience, which is really just around the purpose of today's office hours webinar. So, really, the purpose of this particular webinar, which is one of a few that we host here at Prokeep, is to help those users of Prokeep who are either new to the fold or have perhaps had access to it but want to get a refresher on the most fundamental and essential characteristics and features of Prokeep. We offer these recurring monthly sessions for those individuals, perhaps folks who have recently joined your branch or your organization, or perhaps someone who's just looking to get a better feel for and a better understanding of how else they might be able to take advantage of Prokeep in their day-to-day, working at their particular distributor. Aside from that, if anyone else in the audience has any additional questions, do feel free to submit them. Scott and I are more than happy to spend this remaining time answering any of your curiosities. But assuming we don't have any other questions here in the next little bit, we will be happy to give you some time back in your day as well. But we'll give the audience just a few moments. Very well. Well, thank you again for your time and your support today, Scott. Thanks for very much, as always, connecting with our audience and looking forward to another session here in November. But without further ado, thank you again to our audience for attending as well. Oh, I stand corrected. Bruce has a question. Bruce is asking, can we send messages that only our team can see, such as customer on credit holds? So Bruce, if I'm understanding your question correctly, it sounds like you're wanting to directly message one of your coworkers with a more internal conversation. So Scott, if you wouldn't mind walking Bruce through how that would play out in Prokeep. Thank you,
Sure
sir.
will, Josh. Thanks for the question, Bruce. Absolutely. So within the creation tool here, when we click on this, you have the ability to send an outbound message to your contact list, or you can utilize the internal message paper airplane icon to send a message internally. So for that instance, Bruce, if you wanted to make a comment, maybe concerning that, we need to send that to one of your team members. This will allow you to select one of your associates, maybe whether it's Ryan, maybe it's our friend David. We have the ability to select that person there and then send that internal message to them. You also have the ability to have attachments and even kind of utilize any sort of information relevant to within Prokeep to provide that information and collaborate accordingly as well. Bruce, let us know if that answers your question. That was a really, really good one.
Yes, thank you for the question, Bruce. Thanks for walking us through that as well, Scott. We have another question from Andres. It looks like we did answer Bruce's question. Thanks for confirming, Bruce. Andres asks, on the claimed threads, how long would those claimed threads be kept in the thread? So Andres, if I'm understanding your question correctly, it sounds like you're really wanting to understand if we have a thread that we have claimed and we have not yet closed that thread, how long will it be kept open? Assuming that's correct, the answer to that is it will remain open until it is closed. However, there are features in Prokeep that your administrator can configure that would act as a safeguard. In essence, what that would do is if that thread has been claimed and that employee has perhaps left for the day and forgotten to close it out, there are a few fantastic features that we can configure to either automatically close that thread after a period of inactivity or return it to the shared inbox so that another coworker of yours can take over that interaction and claim that thread for themselves and pick up where that conversation left off. And Andres, if I have that wrong, just let me know and happy to clarify further. Damon has a question on my favorite particular feature of Prokeep, which is around broadcast text messaging. Damon, yes, happy to answer your question there. Will Prokeep in the future be offering code for embedding on website to collect names and numbers for broadcast text messages? So Damon, it sounds like what you're seeking here is in essence the ability to, through perhaps your website, have some sort of a form that a customer could fill out so that way they can opt in to receiving campaigns and messages that you might send to a large audience with broadcast text messaging. This is something that is currently being considered and evaluated. There are are not currently any plans, however, in the immediate future to introduce this functionality to the product, but I will make sure to take that feedback as it sounds like that's something you desire and be sure to relay that to our product team. And again, as a friendly reminder, as Scott mentioned, if you access our handy dandy resource center, you can also submit that feedback yourself directly to that product team, same as I will do on your behalf, Damon. And Andres, thank
Great
you
question.
for confirming that I answered your question. Fantastic questions so far. Thank you all so very much for posing them. Keep them coming if you have them, and we're happy to make sure we get you an answer. All righty. Well, it looks like we have exhausted all of our questions from our audience today, Scott. So, Scott, as well as to our audience, thank you again very much for attending our October office hours session. As always, if you need support, do feel free to reach out to our support team or to any member of the Prokeep team. Again, that resource center feature in the application, that little handy dandy question mark, is a great way to get you directed to the right folks here at Prokeep so we can support you in whatever way you're seeking. And as always, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and a happy Halloween.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care, everyone. Have an excellent afternoon.